This is the Financially Simple Podcast, a show dedicated to destroying the complexities of money for today's small business owner. And now, here's your host, pizza-loving, certified financial planner, Justin Goodbread.
Welcome to Financially Simple. I'm your host, Justin Goodbread. Today, we're going to continue our examination in best-in-class sales. Today's episode is titled, Managing Your Sales Team. Now, many times, management of salespeople can feel like herding cats. Why? Because oftentimes sales folks are strong D personalities. They're like me. They want to conquer the world. As I often say, they want to charge hell with a water pistol. And with that personality often comes a little bit of bullheadedness. That's me. We're stubborn. We're told if we can't do something, we're going to do it. I can remember many times in my life, my parents would say, Justin, don't do this. And I would do it only to find out I'm in trouble. My parents were right. Don't do that. It hurts. It's kind of like whenever we tell little kids, hey, don't touch the fire. It's hot. They touch the fire and they scream. And we're like, we told you it's hot. But, that's what it feels like managing often salespeople. My caution to you is this as a business owner. Do not promote your best salesperson to management of salespeople. There's oftentimes two different skills, and that often is what I see. They'll say, if someone's a high producer, well, we want them to manage other people and teach them the same skill set. Many times it doesn't work. It's a God-given ability to be able to, quote, sell things. It's a God-given ability for people to trust you to where they want to do business with you. Management is a different skill set. So what is effective sales management? Well, to me, I track it down to four things. Number one is you have to have goals, very specific goals that impact the sales personnel and the company. They need to be in writing. We've spent time talking about the effectiveness of written goals. It may be a particular number of widgets they're producing or moving. It may be a particular number of new clients they're attracting. It may even be a revenue number. Whatever the number is, you need to have goals written down. They need to be goals that are short term. We've talked about this in the past in our goal setting adventures. We've talked about SMART goals: specific, measurable, attainable, repeatable, and they're able to be tracked. So SMART goals. But you need to have goals that need to be written down that are profitable for both the sales personnel and the company. Now, after you lay the goals out, the second thing for effective sales management is you must plan. You must plan on how the sales team is going to reach those goals. You see, breaking new goals on a weekly, monthly, quarterly, or annual basis does not happen by accident. You're not going to go out and run the perfect speed record and win the Olympics by accident. You're going to take time. You're going to train. And with that training, you're going to have some coaching. So you're going to coach your team on how they're going to reach those goals. You're going to coach them. You're going to give them the tools they need. And that comes from planning. That comes from our second key feature. Our third key feature, I'm going to spend a little bit of time here on this, is tracking. If there's anything that I see that's deficient in small business, it is the tracking of sales performance. See, it's critical to understand if the sales team is moving toward the goals or not. It's critical. So you've got to review the performance. I like to review it on a monthly basis, but some people review it on a quarterly or even an annual basis, depending on the type of product or service they're trying to sell. In the tracking mechanism, you have to allow your managers. If you're the business owner and you have multiple managers, you have to allow your managers to determine if the strategies that the sales team is using is being employed effectively. You want to make sure that the strategies are working, but you, the business owner, has to subrogate that. You have to allow the team members to look at those strategies and see if they're effective or not. The key idea when it comes to tracking is it helps you become aware of any early problems early enough that you can correct the actions later on. See, once something becomes habit, holy cow, it's hard to deal with. I have a bad habit. I got to tell you, I have a bad habit. I like to chew my fingers. Like literally, I bite my fingernails. Many times I don't realize I do it. It's a habit that I developed as a kid. Now, I've tried to stop. I literally try to not bite my fingers. And my wife, she sits beside me in church. Sometimes I'm paying close attention to what the preacher's saying, or I'm listening to something, or I'm at a lecture. Before I know it, I feel a jab in my side. And here comes flying elbow Emily jumping into my side because of my bad habit. See, once you create a habit, it's hard to correct it. The objective for tracking is to prevent things from becoming habits, to be able to identify any potential problems and be able to correct them before they become substantial.
You are listening to Financially Simple, destroying the complexities of money for today's small business owner.
So what are we to track? What are we to track? Well, again, this is difficult to deal with on a broad-based podcast, but here's some ideas of some things that I have clients who track. So they track sales. They track the number of sales, dollar revenues on a monthly, a weekly, a daily, an annual, a quarterly basis. So you can track sales. You can track the number of closes. So you may say, well, how many closes or what's the dollar per sale that our sales team produced? You may track the number of proposals that are generated. See what the close ratio is there. You may also track the number of first appointments. One of my clients, they actually track the number of contacts that their team meets and creates. I have another client who tracks the number of dials. How many people are they calling on the phone? That often is used in an environment that requires a lot of $10, $12, $13, $14, $15 an hour individuals who are dialing for dollars, as I've heard it referred to. You may also track the number of leads that an individual brings in. However, or whatever you track, you need to track something that directly correlates to the activity that your sales team is dealing with. So aside from tracking, perhaps the hardest is the performance evaluation, because now is where you're going to get into the nitty-gritty and you're going to tell that high influential or the high dominant individual that they are doing good or bad. And this is tough. You want to do it in a positive way. So the way that I like to do it and the way that I like people to criticize me is the Oreo approach. Now, I call it the Oreo approach because I like chocolate Oreos. I could call it the pizza approach because I like pizza, obviously, but I'm going to call it the Oreo approach. So the Oreo approach is this. You start off with a compliment. That's the chocolate on the outside of one side. Start off with a compliment and you tell them everything that they are doing great. Then you come in the cream in the middle. Now, I'm not a cream guy. Some people like to lick the cream out and not eat the chocolate. I like the chocolate. I like to dip the chocolate in some milk. But some people like to deal with the cream, right? The cream to me is like, I could do without it. So I've even had Emily, she'll lick the cream out sometimes. I just eat the chocolate. I like that. That may be the situation, but the cream to me in this case is that is where the areas that need improvement. That's the areas that holds the meat of it. That's the center. That's the heart of the matter. So in the Oreo approach, you're going to start off with the, hey, here's what's doing good. Here's what you're rocking it out. Here's what we need to improve. And you're going to finish up with some more delicious, God-given chocolate on the other side of that. You're going to come back and say, and I'm going to help you with this. I'm here to strengthen you. I'm here to be alongside. We're going to work together. We're going to make some changes, and here's how we're going to help you improve. What we don't want to do is we don't want to bash somebody over the head with a shovel. I'm talking metaphorically, of course. We don't want to beat people down. We want to encourage them. We want our team to reach the fullest potential. That's what we want. So I give you this in performance. Remember that goals initiate behavior. That's what goals do. When we set our goals up, it's going to create the behavior. It's going to get that snowball rolling down the hill. But coaching helps maintain the behavior. So in this performance evaluation, it's an awesome time that you can go in and coach your sales team. Friends, management of people is perhaps one of the toughest things that business owners do. Many times we're not trained properly on how to manage. Managing salespeople, high personalities, high dominant individuals, or high influential individuals, it can be stressful. It can. I hear this often with clients. So I gave you 4 things here. You want to set goals, you want to work on planning, you want to track it, and then ultimately you want to evaluate and make adjustments. That is how you're going to build and manage a best-in-class sales team. And with that, I would like to check out the blog, financiallysimple.com. Hey, while you're there, sign up for the newsletter. If you like the newsletter, do me a favor, forward it to a friend. We have people that shared it out this last week, and we had a bunch of people sign up because they like the content. I'm getting a lot of people who loves the content of the newsletter. It's some of the best writing I do. If you like the podcast, hey, share it with a friend. You know, one of the things I'm doing here, if you have any question, reach out to me. Email me at justin@financiallysimple.com and say, hey, brother, I had a question for you. You said this, and hey, look, I even get some hate mail. As some popular radio show said, I can bail the hate mail. Dude, I disagree with myself many times. So I know that some of you guys are like, dude, you are smoking some sort of crack. I get it. I'm just trying to help you guys out. So look, as I say every week, life is hard. Doing a podcast is tough. There's a lot of information I'm trying to put together for you guys. But life is good, and I'm having a blast with this, and life can be frustrating. Look, money doesn't have to be. Let's continue to make our lives at least financially simple. Y'all go out and make it an outstanding day.
You have been listening to the Financially Simple podcast. The information in this show is for informational purposes only. This show is not investment advice. Instead, seek help from a competent financial advisor. Justin Goodbread, CFP, is an investment advisor representative of Heritage Investors, a registered investment advisor.